Hello, good morning. It's 8 a.m. on Wednesday, and I'm super excited to be here today because it's podcast day. So, if you don't know, every Wednesday at I think 4 a.m., our new podcast drops. And today's episode is really special to me because I share about something that was really life changing about how I grew in my alcohol free journey. And it really had me thinking so much about what happens when you're evolving your mind and how it's possible to go from thinking one thing one day and then completely changing your mind and thinking something completely different the next day. And basically, in this podcast episode, I share with you this idea called the epiphany. Now, epiphany is a word you probably have heard before, right? Epiphany is this concept where you have this breakthrough. You have this breakthrough kind of a thought where one day you were thinking something about, one way about something, and the next day you think something completely different about it, right? You think differently about it. You have this aha moment. You have this kind of breakthrough. And in today's podcast episode, which is called "You're Just One Alcohol-Free Day Away from Massive Transformation," check it out on your, your iTunes, your Google Play, your Spotify. It's the new episode that airs today. I share how I had these series of epiphanies from like month 0 to month 6 on my alcohol free journey, and how each of these epiphanies was crucial for me to be able to move forward and also to design this life that I love today. And I think about it, and I often talk about that, going alcohol free is the fastest road to your biggest dreams. And it just prepares you in such an incredible way to be able to then discover what you really want to do in your life and have the courage and the confidence to go after it. But I was really thinking to myself, okay, well, obviously those are the things that happen. Like, that's the phenomenon, this has happened to me, this has happened to multiple clients I've worked with, but what's actually behind that? So yes, you get more confidence, you get more creativity, you get more passion to try new things, you get this bigger connection with your intuition, you get this energy and enthusiasm back. All of those things help you actually then achieve something else, something bigger, some bigger goal that you've been wanting to do. But what is it about the mind? Like, what happens to the mind from like being in a point where you're stuck to going to a point where you're actually like thinking anything is possible? Like, how does the mind change from thinking you're stuck to thinking anything is possible? And I want to share that with you today. And please go listen to the full podcast episode. It's called "You're Just One Alcohol-Free Day Away from Massive Transformation." And I share this concept a little bit more in depth. But I really had to think about, okay, what happened along my alcohol-free journey that gave me those breakthroughs that really changed my mind and gave me these huge ahas of what was possible for me, from going from stuck to feeling completely hopeful and like anything was possible. And I recognized that I actually had 6 massive epiphanies, right? 6 massive epiphanies that happened along my journey that really bolstered and launched me into this new life that I have today. I mean, my life is completely different, like night and day from who I was before to who I am today. And if we haven't met yet before, my name is Karolina Rzadkowolska, and I'm an alcohol-free life coach. And I'm an author of a new book called Euphoric Ditch Alcohol and Gain a Happier, More Confident You. Let me show it to you. I'm super excited. It's coming out with HarperCollins. It's going to be sold in Target. It's just like my dream come true. But 5 years ago, I was working in a cubicle. I was in a 9 to 5. I was completely stuck in my career. All I liked to do was drink on the weekend. I mean, like, I had no ambitions, no passions. Like, I just felt so stuck. And what I ultimately did too is I got really jealous of other people who had things more figured out than I did. I would get frustrated really easily. I found myself really petty. I was also really judgmental. Like, people who were going for their dreams, I would judge them because I was like, who do they think? Who do they think they are? Like, what are they doing? Because I was just so stuck and so frustrated. And now today, I live a completely different life, right? Not only did I leave my day job, I launched a successful business. I make over 6 figures, helping women all over the world change their relationship with alcohol and find their bigger dreams. I wrote a book that I've wanted to write since I was a little girl. I travel anytime I want to, like, my life is just night and day different. Like, it's hard to even describe who I used to be compared to what I get to live now. But I really wanted to share this idea that it wasn't just this like one gargantuan like overnight change that happened on my journey to arrive where I am today. It was these series of epiphanies that I had. And on the podcast in the episode today, I share with you these 6 epiphanies that I had. And For example, one of the epiphanies that I had was the third one that I share about in the podcast. And it was basically, I was learning. Like, for so long, I thought that the being sober or being like someone who didn't drink was this like point of shame, was this point of embarrassment, was this point of like, well, I overdid it, so now I can't drink anymore. And I started finding these role models, these guides that like I literally thought were the coolest people on the planet. Like they were just up in the morning really early and running like Spartan races and writing books and just doing this incredible stuff. And I was like, "Oh my gosh. Like the coolest people on the planet don't drink." Right? Like all of a sudden my mind just changed from this idea that like someone who doesn't drink or someone who quits drinking alcohol is like a sad story into this like they are the coolest literally people on the planet. And I had to have that modeled to me from guides. But I had this epiphany where all of a sudden I didn't think of not drinking as something that's embarrassing or something that's like, oh, there's a story behind it. I started thinking it as the greatest like strength someone could possibly have. Right? So I went from thinking about it one way one day, and then the next day with this massive epiphany I had, it totally changed how I thought of it. And then another huge epiphany I had, and this is the, let's see, the fourth one I believe I share, or the fifth one I share in my podcast episode today. So it just released today. Check out your Just One Alcohol-Free Day Away from Massive Transformation on Euphoric, the podcast. But basically the next epiphany I had was one of my friends that I had just met, Danielle, who happens to be my co-host today. I just met her, and like within a few weeks of meeting her, she announced to everyone on Facebook that she was alcohol free and that she launched a blog to talk about her experience and her journey. And up to that point, I was like, I just didn't believe I could have a website. I didn't even think like that was possible. Like I knew what I was doing, like who's gonna pay for it. Like I just had these such old ideas about like showing up online. I was never the type of person who had a website before. And when I saw someone that I knew closely, like her, do it, I was like, wait a minute, I could do this. Why don't I do this? Why don't I start a blog, right? And then that kind of like got my wheels turning, and I looked into it and I started one and I launched it like pretty quickly. But I needed to have that epiphany first to be able to do it. And the reason why I'm sharing with you today about these epiphanies is that the thing is that I had these epiphanies like on month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5. And then, my last big one that I share in the podcast is that on month 6 or month 5 or 6, I decided to launch a business. And I had this epiphany around it, right? It was basically that I had launched my own, well, not my own, but in my previous job that I worked at, I had basically launched a small business development center on the campus of the university I used to work at, like by myself. Like I wrote the grant, I got the funding, I had a boss overseeing me, but I basically did the whole project on my own. And now to this day, we have this incredible incubator, like startup, basically assistance, generator, helper, like that I started. And so once I started that, I was like, well, why don't I become a client? Like if I can start a small business development center, surely I can start a business. Surely I could submit, a business plan to this business, to this incubator. And that really got me next. It was kind of like, well, if I could do that and I already know all these people, why not just submit a business plan? And so that was like a huge epiphany I had, right? So I'm having these epiphanies along my 0 to 6 months alcohol free. And the thing that I didn't recognize then, that is just mind blowing to me now, is I almost drank at 2.5 months alcohol free. So I was 2.5 months alcohol free. I had a big trip to Japan planned. I was planning on drinking in Japan. Like that, I planned the trip a long time ago. We even had this drinking tour, like a izakaya tour where we're gonna go to pubs and drink and get food, and it was all already paid for in the tour ticket. And so I had planned to drink in Japan at 2.5 months alcohol free. When I got there, I decided not to. When I got there, I was like, I feel amazing, and I'm gonna like throw that all away for a beer I've had like 1,000 times, And I decided not to drink, and I decided to keep going. But the thing that is so startling to me today is the epiphany I had at month 4, or 5 to write a book and to start a business. I wouldn't have had that epiphany if I started drinking at that 2.5 mark. Like I had to go through these epiphanies to be able to have the life I have today. And none of them would have happened if I would have cut my journey early, right? And I think that often happens is a lot of women will take a break from alcohol and they get to month 2 or maybe 3 or even 1 month, and they're like, basically, I haven't decided to quit forever yet, which is normal and natural, right? And so because they haven't decided to quit forever yet, they decide to go back to drinking. And it really happens very often, right? You take a break because at first, taking a break longer than 2 months or 3 months just seems crazy. Like, what do you? And so you get to that point and you don't decide that you're going to quit forever yet, that you love, you love the break. You love how well you're feeling, how amazing you're feeling. But since you're not ready to quit forever, a lot of women I see go back to drinking at that point. And it sucks. Honestly, it does, because that woman could have been literally one epiphany away from her next biggest dream coming true. Like, you're just one alcohol-free day away from your next biggest dream coming true. And think about it. Even when you're early on in your journey and, the first 2 weeks without alcohol kind of suck. Your body's like rebalancing, recalibrating, it's healing, it's detoxifying. It might not feel good. But even if you're like on day 12 and you're kind of feeling weird, you're literally just one alcohol-free day away from like really improving your sleep and feeling a lot better. Like, every part of the journey is just one alcohol-free day away from feeling massively better, from having a massive epiphany, from discovering something new about yourself. And you never know what the next day will bring you in terms of a benefit. And that's the thing, is if you cut it short, if you cut your alcohol-free break short, if you go only 2 months or 3 months and then you decide to go back to drinking, you'll never get to experience the thing that's going to happen at month 4. And the thing is if I would have started drinking at the 2.5-month mark when I went to that trip to Japan, I would have never had the epiphany to write a book. I would have never had the epiphany to start a blog. I would have never had the epiphany to launch a business. And my life wouldn't be the life I had today, right? Like, isn't that crazy? And so, sometimes like it's hard to decide to quit drinking forever, and I completely don't recommend anyone do. Basically, I like to think of it kind of like marriage. Like, you don't just wake up one day and decide to marry someone without meeting them. Like, you have to meet someone first, right? So first you decide to just take a break. And a break is kind of like going on the first date. So you go on the first date with someone, and then you're dating them and you really like them and it's really going really well, and you're at 2 months alcohol free and things are going amazing, but you're still not ready to get married because it's only been 2 months, right? Like, that's crazy when we think of it that way. But instead of at 2 months, if you're doing really well in this relationship, instead of breaking up with the guy just because you're not ready to get married, why not just continue dating him and see how it goes? You know what I mean? And so I think that's a really important concept for you to know, that even if you reach 2 months alcohol free or 3 months alcohol free and you're not ready to, quit drinking forever at that point, it's almost like being in a relationship. And just because you're not ready to get married doesn't mean you should stop dating that person. Doesn't mean you should just break it off and go back to your old way, your old singlehood. And so that's a really good way to think about it. But really, you're really just one alcohol free day away from the next massive transformation. And that, like, the next day you could have this really cool epiphany. So I shared a few epiphanies that I had along my journey, but if you really want to get the full story, be sure to go listen to the newest podcast episode of Euphoric the podcast. It's called One alcohol-free day away from massive transformation. And it's really painting this idea that, like, you have no idea what the next alcohol-free day will bring you. What benefit it's going to bring you, what aha it's going to bring you, what epiphany it's going to bring you. Because if you had a life-changing epiphany, and this life-changing epiphany hits you at like day 100 alcohol-free, but what if you stopped, going on your alcohol-free journey at day 60? You're never going to have that epiphany, right? And so I think it's really important for women, like, oftentimes we think we just need help with the first few weeks off of alcohol, but I really, really believe that having the best experience alcohol-free and really allowing it to be the leverage you need to change everything in your life, it takes a lot more personal growth work than that. And really anywhere from month 0 to month 12, it's kind of like being a new beginner at it. And there's so much developments that will happen in that phase of 1 whole year without alcohol. And I think getting the support that you need to be able to leverage this one change, to be able to have these massive epiphanies, is super, super, super crucial. And if you're interested in getting that support, if you're interested in really working with someone who can help you have not only these epiphanies about what's next for you in your life, but then give you the tools and the action steps to implement ideas you have. Like, I've had clients who decide, I'm going to write a book. Like, I've always wanted to write a book, but I kind of put that on the shelf. I decided to just not do it. I decided that my job and my kids and all this other stuff is more important for a time being. It's like having the epiphany first that yes, I can write a book. It's been my biggest dream since I was little. And then after that, once you name the dream, once you really start articulating it that that's what you truly want, then you can get the action steps and the tools you need to achieve it, right? And that's where I love working with clients. I'm obsessed with that phase of the journey where someone's dreams start coming back to them. Even working with a client and helping them, discover what those bigger dreams are. I have this like cadre of personality tests and different personality like metrics about figuring it out, like what you're good at, what you like, what kind of like personality you have, and to help you kind of really discover what you want to do more of. We have this kind of process of really exploring and asking ourselves what it is that's next. And then once we kind of figure that out, we name it. I name it with a client. So you want to write a book, so you want to launch a business, so you want to move somewhere, so you want to travel more. I mean, whatever it is, you want to go back and get a yoga teacher training certification, you want to, launch your own blog or business, whatever it is, we name that dream. And then we get the framework to actually get the tools down and action steps you need to achieve it. And so if you're around like 1 or 2 months alcohol free and you really want to leverage this for something more in your life, it's not just a little behavior change. It's literally the stepping stone to figuring out what brings you joy and what you want to do and how you want to spend your time and energy on this planet. Then I do have 2 coaching spots available open for women who are ready to really up-level their alcohol-free lifestyle, affirm that identity strongly, and get help and support to really ensure that they are navigating confidently as a non-drinker and really allowing all those old subconscious beliefs to go to the wayside, those old desires and those old reasons why we like to drink. And then from there, to really use this discovery process to discover what dream do I have that's bigger than this? What goal would I love to achieve this year? And really like mining that, discovering that together, and then honestly getting all the action steps that you need to achieve it. So I'm super, super, super proud of the clients that I've gotten to work with, and they have done incredible things. I have clients who have written books, a few clients that have written books now. I have clients who have launched businesses. I have clients who have become alcohol-free life coaches themselves. I have clients who have created courses and are now making a passive income from their course. I have clients who have moved to Europe, like quit their job and said, I'm going to go live in Europe for a year. I have clients who have done just so many incredible things, even gone back to being, going to get their yoga teacher certification, teaching more yoga classes, just things that really they've always wanted to do for themselves. And it's incredible to see that it all gets spurred by this alcohol-free journey. And it's these series of epiphanies that you'll have along the way, and especially when you have a guide and mentor that's helping you through these breakthroughs and helping you believe something differently, something different than the whole idea that I'm just stuck in life, then these epiphanies really start to make a huge difference. And you can then ask yourself, what do I want to do? What do I really want to do? And from there, you can get the tools and the framework you need to go after that next big goal. So like I said, if you're interested in getting this kind of a coaching container, getting this kind of mentor in your corner, really having someone to help see you and to help navigate confidently in your new identity alcohol-free, especially so you don't go back to drinking, right? So many people take a 2-month break or a 1-month break or a 3-month break, and then they go back to drinking. And it sucks because honestly, those massive epiphanies that were waiting for them, those massive life changes, they don't happen because you go back to the old way of thinking, the old patterns, the old way of being. And it's only in this new way of discovery do you get this new kind of breakthrough about what's possible for you in your life. So I do have 2 spots available, and I would love to work with you if you're in that stage about 1 to 2 months away from alcohol or more, so anywhere from 3 to 12 months or whatever it is, but you're looking kind of for what's next. You're looking for a process to help you discover what's next for you in your life. And I use a really cool method called the CAN method. So the CAN method helps you walk you through a stage of going of building a foundation of confidence and competence, then asking yourself what you really want and really helping you mine your desires, and then naming your dream and getting the tools and action steps you need to achieve it. This is a process I walk my clients through. So if you're interested in going through that, I do have 2 spots available, and I'm going to include the link below to book a call with me, or it's in my bio if you're watching on Instagram. And if you're not 1 to 2 months alcohol free already or more, I want you to know that you're not like left in the dark. I do have a course called Become Euphoric that will help you get there, that will help you get to the 1 or 2 month alcohol free mark so that you can start uncovering these deeper desires of your personality and really make huge lifestyle changes that make you feel happy and make you feel more like you're living a fulfilled life and that there's so much more meaning for you in it. So, like I said, I'll include the link below for you if you want to book a call and you want to talk more with someone who can guide you through this process. And I'm super, super excited because not only does my new coaching container include this framework to help women really, confidently name their dream and go after it as they navigate a completely confident alcohol-free identity. It also comes with coaching with me, but also with this manifestation coach that I'm partnering with named Jasmine. She's just incredible. Jasmine is just so good at the art of manifestation and really showing you how your thoughts, your actions, and your rituals can help you bring your dream life to you faster. So if you've ever heard of manifestation and the law of attraction, she's just a pro at it. And we're also giving sessions with her throughout the coaching container so that your dreams come to you even faster with this process of really, ritualizing them in your life and believing in them every day and having these like activities you have to do every day or whatever it is to really bring them to you faster. So I'm super excited to offer it. We have this really cool framework going. Really help you navigate your alcohol-free life confidently and then help you achieve those dreams that have been really on the back burner. Those dreams that like are so personal that they're not for anyone else. It's not about like the goal that's going to make your parents proud or make your husband happy, or it's not about those goals. It's the ones that you've been holding into your heart secretly and you're either too scared or you don't even believe you have permission to go after them. And it's really showing you how that is your destiny on this planet. It's to go after those goals. It's to really become the most authentic, expressive version of yourself down to your deepest desires. So like I said, there's 2 coaching spots available. I'm including the link below for you to book a call, and I'd love to get on a call with you. Basically, you just book a call, and then we will talk for about 30 minutes, and I'll just ask you a lot of cool questions to get to know you and really see where you're at and what you're looking for. And then we can see if we're a good match, and I'll share more about the coaching container. But I'm so excited to offer it. And like I said, if you're not like 1 or 2 months alcohol free already at this point, I offer a course called Become Euphoric. It's my signature course, and it will show you how to take a break from alcohol the right way. It will give you literally a tool and a framework every single day. So every single day you're not like, dealing with cravings or not knowing what to do. Every day you have guidance on what to do and what to think and how to change your mind about it and how to have new activities and new rituals in your life. So if you're not there yet for coaching, be sure to check out Become Euphoric. And if not, I will see you next week. I'm so excited to be here today. And be sure to check out that podcast episode as well, 1 alcohol-free day away from massive transformation, to hear this concept a little bit more.